Speaking of terror squirrels,
What?
I have an embarrassing.
Record.
It's not what you think. It's less worse and also worse.
Okay. Say more words into the microphone, please.
Like less worse as in better or just not as worse?
Not as bad as real terror squirrels, but you're still going to be disappointed.
Okay, say words.
I'm going to get into Warhammer 40K.
Fuck yeah!
I've been, it's been like a hot girl at a party who you don't want anything to do with for like a decade.
Yes.
Like watching her across the room being like, oh my God, you'd be so fun, but no.
But then you start talking to her and you go like, wait,
this
you're
feels like
kind of cool.
everything.
Yeah.
You're not like other girls.
You're
like a train wreck.
different.
Oh, I see why everyone else is so
Or
into
guys,
Yeah.
whatever you're into.
Yeah.
Just that person at the party. But man,
I think it's a non-binary hottie.
Yeah, it's a non-binary hottie who has some blood, dripping from the lip in a really sexy
They're
way.
like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, and you're
Don't
like,
worry about
I
it.
want to know.
Don't make it
They're
weird.
not going to make you spend all your
40K
money.
is definitely like the Manic Pixie Dream Girl.
It absolutely is.
yeah.
You're like, you're so
Hobbies.
free. And it's like, that's so funny. You can't play if you don't paint them.
Oh my God, it's a
Yeah.
Manic Pixie Dream Squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we rolling now?
We're rolling now.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Do you want me to start or do you want to do a funny cold open thing?
Welcome to the Wandering Path Detour, or as I like to call it today, your favorite detour's favorite detour.
Because we did not
Because
plan
normally-
this one.
Normally we get we're like chilling, but today especially is a day where like we're chilling in a desperate way.
Yeah. We're all doing great.
Yeah, we're chilling in the way that like if you're climbing up the side of a mountain, you find like a little row of rocks to like rest your weary body upon.
Yeah.
But
Tiny
you're
cave where the wind isn't blowing.
where the
quite so
wind isn't
hard.
blowing directly into your
But
face.
it's not by design.
Not by design.
No.
You know what it reminds me a lot of? When I was younger, I went to Niagara Falls, and you can go into those caverns behind the waterfall.
And there's a treasure chest and it's like glowing gold.
Yeah, I wish. It's just like you can just go, wow, that water is going really fast.
Sure is.
That is some hoard water right
That
there.
is some water going down. And I am in a cave in a little poncho because I'm 14 years old.
It's like we've been hiking, and then all of a sudden there's that torrential downpour, and we
Yeah.
found this tiny little cave,
Yeah.
and we've all crawled in there, and we're all huddled together going, this is fine, this
Yeah.
is fine.
Yeah,
It's very-
shivering.
One time I was like walking across the Brooklyn Bridge with my friend when it was like a complete torrential downpour, and we were in the middle, and we go, well, there's nothing we can do about this.
Yeah.
So then we just walked slower
There you
across
go.
it because we were like running bad, slippery, won't do anything for us now.
Also-
And
Oh,
worse,
makes it
running
worse.
in the rain, worse.
Yeah, I'll give you-
No, it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
We looked,
Soaked to the bone
we
either way.
looked dry because of how thoroughly saturated
Yeah.
with moisture.
2 years ago now, I had to go to the UK for a friend's wedding, and one of the friends in the wedding group was like, I'm gonna go to Boots, which is like the drugstore in the UK.
Okay.
And the sun was shining, the clouds were parted, the sky was visibly clear. In the UK, I guess for eco reasons, they only give you paper shopping bags. And so we bought a bunch of stuff like shampoo and things.
no.
We walk outside. The rain is happening.
Yeah.
We are far from our place of cover. The bags disintegrate. The accoutrement fall to the ground.
No.
And then we put desperately in our remaining pockets, purses, and bras all manner of accoutrement.
Yeah.
And then make it to our
Yeah,
necessary
that's
location.
what this detour is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the
that-
shampoo
it's picking-
In the bra.
It's grabbing body wash desperately off a wet, cold sidewalk.
Yeah.
And P.S. cover and disintegrate. Both terms in Warhammer 40K.
Oh my God.
Brought it back around.
You fucking nerd.
Yeah, it's like not physically a rainy day here on the Wandering Path, but it's like metaphorically a rainy day.
It's spiritually a rainy day.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. I woke up this morning to record, and I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and my hips are doing something way funky, and I'm in a lot of pain. And I was like, My brain needs to run an entire game engine for a podcast today. I don't know if I can do that.
And all of us were like, don't do that.
Yeah, we were like, cut that out. Let's talk about bullshit
Like,
instead.
we can help if you want, but what if we just didn't do the thing?
Yeah, this is part of the reason we invented the Detour in the first place.
Well, it's funny because I remember one of the other times where we came into the tent.
Yeah.
And we were all going through it. What came out of that was the episode where Gordon made us food.
Yeah.
Which was very lovely and beautiful, but not sometimes. You can't.
Sometimes, even
like when we're on our way to a basement to fight something and save a child, it makes it hard to just let's go make a meal instead.
Yeah.
I know. And we will. Don't worry. We will
be
get back to that fight.
We'll do that.
Next time on the Wandering Path. But this time,
when your hips don't hurt.
Yeah, when
When your hips stop lying.
Yes,
Thank you.
truly.
They won't stop lying.
My hips, and the lie that they tell is we're acting normally.
We're good. Everything's good.
And they're bad at lying.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I guess I'll use the opportunity to talk a little bit about chronic illness representation in the Wandering.
Yeah, where'd it come from?
Yeah, the fact that I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is the reason I put Paz in the game.
Hell yeah.
Wait, will you say it slowly?
Yeah, the name of the disease is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
And how many people in the world have it?
That's a really good question. Doctors got a lot better at diagnosing it in the past 10 years. I think there's also 13 different types of it, or there used to be. So I think the prevalence now is 1 in every 500 people has it.
Oh, okay.
But of the 13 types, I have the rarest type in the world.
Because you're
Yeah, you
God's
do.
favorite princess.
Yes. So my prevalence is more like 1 in a couple million people.
You're
Mischa,
so special.
you
You're
are
so
1 in a
special.
million.
You
Thank
are
you
1 in
so
a million.
much.
Medically and
You're one
as
of
a
several.
person.
Yeah, it's a connective tissue disorder. All of my ligaments stretch out. It's really fun. It hurts a lot.
I'm so sorry.
So I it's hard to find characters that have my specific experience because
Yeah.
my physical ability changes a lot from day to day. Sometimes I'm wheelchair bound. Sometimes I can hike up mountains. And so that's kind of Paz's vibe. Is she uses a cane when she needs it, and she has food sensitivities and.
Fact check. Experts estimate that 1 in 5,000 people.
Ooh.
Oh.
I'll go back and do a pickup
Wow,
later.
Mish. No pickups. No, you get to fucking wear that you tried to make yourself seem 1 in a million and you're really 1 in 5,000.
No, Mischa's still
No.
one of the
The
millions.
The general prevalence is the 1 in 5,000.
It's more intense.
Yeah.
All right, well, I was trying to catch Misha
Egg
on
on
their
your
shit.
face.
Damn it!
Yeah. There's egg on all our faces.
That's a gold star for Aaron, by the way.
Yeah,
so
that's
we're clear.
definitely a gold star for Erin. Thank you
Yay,
for fact
gold
checking.
star for Erin.
Thank
Also, we
you.
can't put egg on our faces because eggs are too expensive.
Ooh, relevant.
Yeah.
Timely.
I didn't say what kind of egg.
Yeah, quail eggs.
So it's just sometimes I wake up and my brain can't do the thing.
That sucks.
And playing TTRPGs is a brain intensive.
It's
Yeah.
the
hobby.
most, it's so brain intensive.
It's part of the reason I love it.
Yeah.
Is it engages a lot of parts of my brain. It lets me live in the moment. It lets me smile and make jokes with my friends.
It's my favorite form of therapy.
And
That's
that too.
so funny.
But it's an intense. That's also why I really like Magic the Gathering. I don't know. Is Warhammer 40K like that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's very
maybe I'd
much
like
like
it.
that, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But again, if my hips were dislocated and I couldn't really walk today, I don't know that I'd be up for playing Warhammer 40K.
No,
would
definitely.
not.
There's a lot of standing and leaning in Warhammer.
Yeah, you have
40K.
to go survey the scene.
Yeah.
Ouchie. What? They don't have the NFL Sky Cam
The
or
sky
whatever.
cam.
Yeah, on the two fucking cables.
yeah.
that are
Come
all
on,
over
Warhammer,
you.
get it together.
Honestly, the streams would look sick.
They would
would.
look really cool.
They would. Well, I remember I
Let's get
watched a
into it.
Warhammer video because someone was explaining how if you want to paint pink on a Warhammer mini, you want to paint yellow as the base,
Yeah.
and then the pink looks nicer on top of it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Cute.
It's all
color
about layering
theory.
and
I
guys,
watch
you're
a
about to
lot.
lose me too. A hobby that's expensive and time consuming.
I love it.
I
Want to
shouldn't.
hear something funny?
Yeah.
I know someone who loves painting the minifigs.
Yeah.
Does
Yes.
not play.
Yeah, no, I love
that's-
painting.
Buys so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Like
They're
an
so fun.
inordinate
They're
amount,
such good
and then
sculpts.
paints so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then does
Doesn't play.
nothing.
Well, the
with
big
them.
flex in Warhammer, from what I understand with painting, is can you paint the flags?
Yeah.
Because there's no
'Cause they-
delineation
Yeah.
in the mini, so you just got to be good at painting.
Love a good
Yeah.
flag.
I
Flag.
You just put the word flag on the mini.
You guys just got canceled.
Well, that's it. We're done.
Okay, that was a great detour, everybody. Well, anyway, Mish,
goodbye.
we're so sorry that you're having a day like that. That's
Thank
the
you.
fucking
Yeah,
worst.
that sucks. That's
Thanks.
yes.
Thanks very much. So let's do a detour instead.
Let's talk about
We do have
bullshit.
some episodes that we could talk about.
Yeah.
We could talk about 18, 19, and 20. We'll start with episode 18, which is kind of like the fallout of the rally in the warehouse, kind of like seeing where Ravona really came down after that whole big fight, after a
Yes.
lot of surprise team-ups.
Yeah. Did we record that one before or after New Year's?
I don't even know.
That one was before.
Because I want to talk very specifically about
that
the
one was
pivot
before.
emotionally.
Because that one was we were still in the warehouse.
Yes, we were still in the
Yeah.
warehouse. So I think that was the last one we shot or
That was last
recorded.
one.
We went
Yes.
from the
24.
warehouse into
the-
Fran's apartment
yes.
to read the book.
Yes. The book. Okay, yeah. Let's talk
Yeah.
about everything that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, there was like, I mean, skipping all the emotional fallout and stuff, do you want to just talk about the book?
Let's fucking talk about this
Let's
book.
talk about this
Yeah.
book.
Fucking books.
What a fascinating character General Shinmar is.
Yeah, what do you think of her?
I think we talk a lot about like that the world can't handle a morally complex female character. And I think like General Shinmar is a very interesting example of that because like she is straightforwardly, if you put it in bullet points, like she's a very neglectful or like highly pressuring mother. She is a war criminal.
Question mark?
Do we have war crimes in this world?
Well, to quote The West Wing, all wars are crimes.
Yeah, so
Hey.
she's a war criminal. She is potentially in some sort of romantic entanglement with maybe up to 3 or 4.
Yeah, get it, girl.
Yeah,
Let's get
yeah,
it, girl.
girl. Hey, if the men can do it, a bitch can too.
Yes.
If you can be in 4 situationships at once, you better believe that General Shinmar can as well.
She is playing Warhammer 40k.
She's
with
playing
situationships.
Warhammer 40k with these men's hearts.
Yeah.
Is the Warhammer.
No, yeah, never mind.
No, say
Oh,
words.
no.
I want to say I fact checked.
No, I was just about to be like, there's a lot of exposed hearts in Warhammer 40k. You
Yep.
know?
Yeah.
A lot of bones.
Yes, get into it. I want the detours to be a leveling up arc of Ian's descent into Warhammer.
I'm going to
40K.
put this on tape. I think maybe later on, maybe another day when my brain physically can't do the task we're here to do, we should do a detour that's just like show and tell of a special interest.
Of our special
God.
interests.
Yeah.
Hell
Ooh,
yeah.
that's a great idea.
Could be
I
fun.
love that. I
Could be
love
fun.
that. I love that
Be
very
fun.
much.
Could
love
also
that very
be
much.
Tasty treat.
a horrible look in the mirror.
So yeah, she's a super complex character. I find her, it's interesting. I find her scary in theory, but I also think she has like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's like bark and no bite. I know she can fight.
Oh, she can bite.
I know she can bite.
Yeah,
I know.
I would say like she just hasn't yet.
I know.
I mean, and this is a part of her character that Reed and I sort of came up with together, which is that like that caged animalness that like she spends so much effort restraining herself all
Yeah.
the time.
Not
Yeah.
to bite. Yeah.
It's so interesting. So yeah, I don't know. I have so many complex feelings about a complex female character.
Can I ask a question? Does Ibra feel any of that?
Ooh.
Is that a thing that like made its way to Ibra at all?
The caged animal.
That like spending so much energy kind of restraining what you really want to do.
I think it did for a long time. And I think it manifested very differently for Ibra. For Ibra, it was a lot of energy not doing what they wanted to do because it's not what their family wanted them to do. And like in the more recent years, they've sort of been going the other direction and leaning into the things that they want to be doing, even if it flies in the face of what they were told to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's like one is trying not to hurt others, and one is trying to, I don't know how to describe it, like live differently.
Yeah, I mean, if I may, it sounds to me that like Ibra's picked up the surface patterns of how General Shinmar lives her life with a very different underlying like motivation behind it.
Yes. So Ibra's not trying to withhold the bite. Ibra's trying to withhold the lack of bite almost.
Right.
Ibra's like, my
Yeah.
instinct is to hug, and I'm being told I need to bite instead of hug.
That's right. That actually reminds me a lot of like when we were coming up with Ibra too.
Yeah.
But then weirdly, like, told, like, not actually explicitly told to bite, told to, follow decorum and be proper, but with the understanding that you should be biting.
Yeah.
So it's like levels, it's like onions.
And also the triplets were taught to interrogate, as we discovered.
That's right. Well, and I agree with you, Mayana, that she is very complex and has like a lot of stuff going on the surface. She's also like classic villain, like truly all of the complexity leads to a very simplistic place.
That's true, but I remember this thing a long time ago that I heard, which is like the most interesting thing about villains is they don't see themselves as villains.
Exactly. Every villain is the hero of their own story.
Yeah, and with Reed, not Reed, General Shinmar, because they're not the same person.
General
Reed is
Reedmar.
nothing like General Shinmar.
General Reedmar.
But General Shinmar, like she thinks everything she does is perfectly justified.
Well, and I think that the reason we're not so as afraid, perhaps, is because of what just happened with Ravonna, right? It's like, she's not some mustache twirling, super evil genius in a lair who's plotting to destroy New Prosper tomorrow. Like, events could unfold that then put us on the same side. So
That's
it's
a great point.
Right. You might be bad, but you might not be malevolent in terms of
the right now of the situation.
I agree with that. I think there's a difference between like General Shinmar of old and who General Shinmar could be in the future if the game goes a certain way.
Yeah, well, you made the comparison to like a caged animal, and there's a part of me that's like, okay, so does this animal have a muzzle on, or did someone declaw it? Like, what is happening here? Like, and what will happen once that cage is gone? I feel like there's a scenario in which the cage is gone somehow.
What do you think?
I think muzzled.
I think muzzled.
I think that whatever her relationship is to her kids, which is not necessarily one of the utmost love and compassion, but there's clearly a connection and perhaps projection there.
Yeah.
That relationship is the thing that could declaw, I think, of anything. But as it stands from what we've seen right now, I think it's a muzzle, and I think it's a person who really resents this cage. And yet, the triplets then like being raised in the cage, it's like kind of the idea of like, oh, you should be raised to know what this cage is, be raised so they aren't gonna poke and prod at you in it, but you also should be prepared for when this cage is gone.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the really weird tension of, I'm not gonna declaw my kids, but I also don't want them muzzled, but I'll tell them not to bark.
Yeah.
Like, kind of thing. But all the teeth are still there.
I'm picturing a lioness in a literal physical cage with a muzzle on, and 3 cubs that are just small enough to sneak out and back into the bars.
Yeah.
But do you guys see her as like being hemmed in by stuff? Because like from my perspective, she won. They won. They did whatever they were trying to do. So is it also that there isn't a cage? It's like, no, we fashioned the apartment like we want it, and now we're trying to be calm because we don't want to rock this boat because we succeeded in our wish spell.
I mean,
whatever.
Decorum is a bit of a cage by itself.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
In the sense of like, she did when she was clearly really powerful. She had all of this influence, and then when we see her at home, it's like her influence is just rubbing elbows at dinner parties. There's a lot less power in that. Like, there's so much less power within that.
I get what you mean.
Of like, she might still be one of the most powerful people in New Prosper, but she doesn't have much actual influence.
Yeah,
And
nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Also, things changed. Like, the government that she helped build
is not the same.
Not there anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is what interests me, is like how y'all's perspectives have shifted now that you've read that book, which I was trying to have so much fun. Like, it's such a limited perspective.
Yeah.
Doing exposition that way through like that specific lens of this woman who we've already seen wrote a book for this reason, and this is the information she included, and it's all you have to go on.
I have a couple hits off of that. One, and they're going to be mostly media references. So Gladiator 2. Spoiler alert for Gladiator 2.
Okay.
I'm sure you can assume based off of the title what happens in Gladiator 2.
Is there a gladiator?
There's Gladiator.
I think there's a second. Maybe two
Are there
of
two
them.
of
Like
them?
but one of the characters is a hero, you know, like he's leading the armies and he comes back and he still has to kiss the ring of the emperors and he still has to conquer in the name of the empire, and even though he has conflicted feelings about it and he is the most physically powerful man, he still cannot actually meaningfully make change because he's not the emperor.
Yeah.
And
He's still subservient. at the
He's
end of
still
the day.
subservient. If you have a triangulation of people in government, the person who's in charge of the military, as powerful as that person is, still takes orders from other people.
Yeah.
And presumably would never actually be in charge of the government. 2, Mrs. America, an FX limited series about oh my God, what is her name? Something Shafley or something. Like,
I love you so much.
Thank you. This woman who played by Cate Blanchett in the series was like this conservative woman. She really wanted to like get into government to like talk about, I think, like the space program. Like she had things she was trying to do, but like they were like, yeah, whatever, woman. And so then she became the leader of like the conservative women's movement to like get back in the kitchen and like get back to being a housewife. Yeah. Let the men do what they have to do. And so she built a platform on that. She was extremely influential, and then the minute the presidential election happened, she got fucking shafted again. Yeah. And so one of the other women, because it's like the Avengers of like women's liberation icons on this show. So Elizabeth Banks is playing this like conservative woman who is for the women's liberation movement, and she's like, it doesn't matter how many men's shoulders you stand on, they're still gonna look up your skirt.
Ooh.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter how powerful you are as a woman. Our society is slightly more gender balanced than the real world. But the fact of the matter is she is still a woman in what seems to me to be still be a male dominated government system. So it doesn't matter how far she gets. She's still a mother and she's still a woman. Yeah. And third thing, I think, and it's occurring to me just now hearing you guys talk about this, the minute you find out that someone's in love, it doesn't matter for what reason, it makes them a human person to you.
Yeah.
I think one of the interesting things in Daredevil, third reference, OG Netflix Daredevil, was Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin's love for his wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes a villain sympathetic to know that their heart can be tender.
The juxtaposition of that energy, of that compassion, of that care, and then what they do despite that makes it even more alarming, even more violent, even more hostile, even more malicious, whatever. So it's like, you know, I love to say within media, as like a media thing, like I support women's wrongs because because this is like super meta, but like people are gonna shit on female characters all the fucking time
for misogyny reasons, for doing the same things men characters
and it's
do.
like, so like as
Let
like do I support women's wrongs actually?
No one should do wrongs.
No.
Hot take, don't do wrongs.
Yeah. Do fewer of them.
Do fewer wrongs.
I guess.
Do rights.
We live in a society.
But like Lynn with General Shinmar, I'm like, I can't help but like be so enamored with the tragedy of this character, because like in another world, like you would see this really, really powerful, like strategically minded character who is is a hero that like did everything that they could to save the world and did. And that is one framing of a story. Like I don't think it can be fully denied that that was momentous and victorious.
Yeah.
And so like in another world, I'd be like super into this.
Yeah.
And yet like in the context of this, like it does ask the question, and then what? And so like there's a part of me that really loves the inherent tragedy of her character right now, because it's like, you did all this and for what? Like, yes, you're still powerful, you have influence, etc., but like ultimately, it's a thankless job.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. Nobody gets to celebrate you.
Sort of visually represented, visually in a podcast medium. But it's like you can see it in how empty their mansion is, right?
Yeah.
Like how big and empty that space is. There's so much possibility of stuff that could be happening there, and it just feels abandoned almost.
Damn.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Damn.
I'm also like, you were saying that one of the things that makes a villain so accessible is when you find out that they can love, or that they have this deep love. Who does General Shinmar love?
That's what we keep wondering.
Yeah.
It could be, there's so many contenders for like who she chose to marry and who she's actually in love with.
Yeah. And I mean, just to jump a couple episodes ahead really quickly, like, you just potentially got the other side of one of those conversations.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
still to be seen.
Yes.
Because you got the CEO's papers.
Oh, right. We just have to read them now.
Yep. Yep.
So that's kind of fun.
I'm so excited.
Because, yeah, I don't know. I like this extends beyond General Shinmar, I think. But, like, with a lot of characters that we've met, one of the big questions that kind of, like, simmers in the background is, like, who do they care about?
Yeah.
And what do they care about? Like, I find that really compelling, both as, like, character studies in general, but, like, especially in this type of setting where on paper you can really easily see people's motivations. And at the same time, it's like, but how does this connect with what their actual, like, connections and relationships are in this world? So, like, even our thing of, like, who does General Shinmar love? Like, I have no answers for that. There are a lot of possible options. And, like, the weird things, like, the things that I'm getting a sense of, what she loves is feeling powerful.
Yeah.
And so, like, how does that act as a lens in which she frames these relationships? And how does this work as a framework for her actions?
And also for her parenting style.
Yeah, it's like if she only loves
if
her kids when they're doing what she says.
Or is, like, she only can find love accessible when she feels like my love language is quote unquote empowering other people. Yeah. What does that mean? Like, what are the ramifications of that? Yeah. And, like, obviously there are a lot of misgivings that are inherently associated with that. But, like, it's very clear that the people she was closest with, she did everything that she could to make them more powerful too.
Yeah, because power is the language that she speaks in. Yeah.
Yep. So I wasn't going to bring this up because I think we've already talked about it, but do you even know how to do an interrogation episode just dropped again, so I re-listened to it.
Yeah.
And this conversation is so reminding me of how uncomfortable that whole top of that episode is to listen to, right? When we're shoving knives into Javi's legs.
Like, we relax. It was me. You guys are absolved from any of the choices that I made.
But the reason I'm linking them together is because it's kind of the same thing, right? Someone who you interact with and talk to and seems like a very sympathetic, interesting, likable, dynamic character. And then you turn around and, like, they have this really intense dark side that you're not expecting. You know, I mean, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
100%. Well, the other thing is I remember Mayana in that moment when Javi was, like, not taking us seriously. I, as the player, got, like, really annoyed. And I was like, okay, I think the only way, because I've run into this a little bit where it's like you're trying to play a menacing villain, and for the most part people were like, what are you gonna do about it? And then you're like, cool, I'll just, like, murder your friend. Because it's like that's the only language that you can communicate in to let people know what the real stakes are. I agree. And also I think that, like, it's only through your grace as my co-storytellers on this podcast that, like, General Shinmar hasn't had that moment yet. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys were not so interested in being the co-authors of this larger story and not just, like, the protagonists and main players of it, there is a chance that you would have run across her, like, and there still could be, you know, but, like, she hasn't had to do that yet. I think Brahma, like, because I also remember feeling on that day when we were playing the mansion game, that, like, Brahma for me in that moment was like, I want to take just a little bit of the power back. And the only way she could was through this weird drill pitch, because it's like, she's not going to say no, but, like, man, does she want to. But I was like, this is the one win she gets. They get. It's like,
well, that's the thing. The triplets are all agender, and so they all do use they pronouns. But Hema is he they,
right?
Brahma is she they, and Ibra is they them.
So
we run
I think,
the gambit.
Like, thank you so much. Brahma just, there's not a lot of time or places where they can get the power back, and it's
Well, it's also kind of funny, like, again, going back to the original analogies that we were using, is like Brahma is probably most like General Shinmar.
Because she's in the house all the time.
And in the house the whole time, and is also probably the person who resents it the most.
Of course.
Like, and that is such I think both of them being able to kind of like look at each other and be like, look at what you've made me
Yeah.
is such a horrifying thing.
And is General Shinmar proud of it, or does she regret it in any way?
Yeah.
We don't know.
We don't know.
And even a third axis, like, Hima's also out there doing stuff.
Yeah.
It hasn't come up yet. We're still, moving as we move through the story, but like, it's been on my mind.
Well, Hima's been doing shit.
Hima takes power in this other way, very similar to the siblings in Succession, where I think Roman presents as like, I'm a little guy, don't take me too seriously, I jerk off, blah, blah, blah. And like, Hima's like, I'm drunk, I don't care, blah, blah, blah. Like, but even in that is power because you are letting everyone know that you are not to be quote unquote taken seriously in these conversations.
Right.
And so you don't have to have obligations or accountability in them in the same way other people are just inherently expected to.
Yeah, like a Tyrion Lannister kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's a Tyrion Lannister, absolutely.
The expectations are low, so you have that as an advantage.
And, oh my God,
And
yeah,
yet
you
at
have
the
so
same
much
time,
freedom.
You never get validation.
Exactly.
Yes,
This
because no one
comes
takes it seriously.
drawback.
This really does scare me for the possibilities of the Shinmar clan in the story going forward, right? Because like we're talking about, at this current moment, they seem sort of potentially dangerous, but who knows? And it could go several ways. Some of them very poor, and that would put you in a really, really rough position.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think Ibra's already in a very strange position and only sort of understands a piece of how strange their situation is.
Yeah.
Well, I do wonder, like, based on everything that happened with Ravonna, tying it back to the episode that we're supposed to be talking
Thank
about.
you so much.
Is how will General Shinmar react now that we have taken Ravonna away from General Shinmar as like an ally?
Earned the trust.
We've earned the trust.
The good graces.
We have gained the power via
We took the book
Ravonna.
before she could read it.
We not even like it's not even like us taking the book, but the fact that like in that fight through all of that, like we and like Ravonna is on our side.
We endeared
now.
ourselves through our perseverance and our willingness to self-sacrifice,
So, like,
which is the theme we've
if-
discovered. Yeah.
If General Shinmar is on the side of the big bad, so to speak, in this, how will General Shinmar react now that we've taken at least two of her kids
Yep.
and one of their major political allies? That is the reason why she wrote the book. Like, this was a power play by design because Ravonna has more influence and power, the kind of influence and power that
she
General
needs.
Shinmar wants or needs.
That's so true. Like, and what I love about it being a book, like a handwritten book that she was writing, and shout outs to Reed, she came up with that herself. That's crazy.
God, I love that.
That's a move. That's a play that takes like effort, like physical manual effort.
Yeah.
And to put like, how long does it take to handwrite a book? Probably a long time.
Well, the other thing too
And-
is psychologically speaking, when you write a thing, it becomes more true in your brain.
And so for her to have spent all that time, effort, like sweat, blood, tears,
Ink.
Thank you. And it didn't even it didn't even do the thing she was
Wanted
doing.
it to.
That's
Wow.
horrifying. Well, it's kind of like her kids, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
Yes.
Oh my God.
I put so much time, science research, doctor days, weeks and weeks in protein and training for them to still turn into like
People
independent, free thinking individuals I can't really truly
I
control.
literally created them in a lab, and they still won't do what I wanted them to
Well, it's
do.
also like when we asked the question earlier, I'm so invested in General Shinmar.
I know.
What a character! One of the characters of all time.
Yes.
One of the characters.
is also that thing like when asking the question earlier of like who does General Shinmar love? I'm also like, who loves General Shinmar?
Oh my God.
Where I'm like, I don't know if her kids do.
Hey,
I don't
Reed,
know if
hey,
her
Reed,
husband does.
Hey, Reed, you don't have to listen to that part. You can just skip it.
Hey, Reed.
No, we love Reed.
We love Reed.
Hey,
Just to
Reed.
be
No, hey,
clear.
Reed. Lean in closer, Reed. This
Hey,
is an
Reed.
intervention.
Let it fuel you.
Like, as someone who's clearly trying to make power plays, who's trying to achieve power and also therefore validation, she has spent all of this time, all of this energy, resources to like prove to other people something, like prove something about herself, and yet constantly from all sides she is being undermined, underestimated, being
Villain
taken of her
origin
power, like stripped of her power, and isn't even loved for it.
Yeah.
Like, ugh. Again, I love the tragedy of her.
Yes.
And there's such an important aspect to me of look at what I've sacrificed for you. How dare you go against me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet, hot take, not worried about her. Can't explain it.
I just
Must be the straight white male.
Because
in me.
you're delusional, but that's okay. We love you.
Well, I think that just speaks to a little bit to like Gordon's priorities, honestly, because now that you're like Ghost Inspector Gordon, that, like you're so into like the mystery of where these boogans are coming from.
What did you just say?
Boogans.
The boogans.
What's a boogin?
It's a boogin.
It's like Boggin's Bistro, but the spooky version.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. Quick side tangent. Oh, remind me to come back to boogans after you say that. Sorry, continue.
Okay. But that you're looking through all of these like weird tomes and like National Enquirer, kind of like urban legend kind of things, and that's where you're getting your magic from. That like Gordon thinks that's where the juice is.
Yes.
And so he's not really even thinking about like the humans that are taking advantage of whatever's happening.
That is 100% correct.
Boogans reminder.
Okay.
Boogans.
So as I've been re-listening to episodes, gold stars have finally like made it into the gen pop, right?
Ooh.
The zeitgeist.
The zeitgeist. And I have to say, I was a poor administrator of the gold star system because it was a very sort of oblique system, right? And in re-listening to episodes, I've realized exactly what gold stars are.
What are they?
And gold stars are rewards for great vocabulary.
Okay.
That's why they started. Like someone said a fucking
Zeitgeist.
crazy word.
I remember that, yeah. And then I said, like, stick that in your SAT prep book or whatever.
And then I gold starred it.
Yeah.
But then Mischa, like there's one of the episodes that just dropped, like I gave a gold star and then 4 sentences later, Mischa said an unbelievable word and I didn't give them a gold star because I was just like, I was following the
It's all
vibes.
vibes, yeah.
But so from this moment forward, and don't try. I'm just saying when a word comes up that's like that no one's heard, that's very interesting. That's what
bogans?
gold star, like bogans.
That's
I've never heard that
fun.
word. That's an interesting word.
Boogans.
I've probably heard that word. Have I ever thought about it? No.
Well, plenty more to come about General Shinmar. We're definitely not done with her.
No way.
She's not done with us.
Oh, yeah. That's a better way to say
it.
it.
Last thing is like the reason why I'm not afraid of her yet.
You're in
but
love
I'm
with
afraid
her.
of her potential, and maybe that's all that she needs from me.
Yes.
me pushing my non-existent
She's like
bangs
the
back.
spooky, dark, photo negative version of Gwen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Ooh.
Honestly, yeah.
I thought you were going to say the spooky dark photo negative version of Beyonce.
Oh,
Why did you think that was?
She's very
all powerful
Beyonce.
and the queen and top
Okay.
of the.
Yeah, but
Okay.
But Beyonce's been recognized actually, so I guess it's not
Yeah.
Beyonce. Beyonce has achieved all the power.
She has. It's true.
She's the most winningest Grammy winner of all time.
She would be like Beyonce if Beyonce was not recognized.
She'd be Beyonce.
the
Oh,
other
yeah.
of Destiny's
Oh
Children.
my god.
She'd be Beyonce if she'd never popped off,
Mischa.
and she's like in a basement somewhere going like, I could have won a Grammy if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I could have won a Grammy if I wanted to. I just
32
watch
of
me
them
win a
even.
Grammy. Yeah. Amazing.
Sorry, I do know these facts. She has
That's okay.
99 nominations and 32 trophies.
That's insane.
Okay, here's a transition. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ready.
Speaking of winning things, let's talk about the skateboard contest.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yes.
Nice transition.
Thank you very much. Let's talk about the skateboard contest.
Yes.
So after y'all left with that book, the first thing you wanted to do was go check out that factory with that skateboarding team.
Yeah, well,
And
we didn't want to be there with the teens.
No.
That was
But the
the
teams
first
were there.
episode we recorded after New Year's,
Yeah.
and things hadn't gotten crazy yet.
They were crazy in like an optimistic way.
Yeah, we were like riding high. We're like, we're back from break. We're
Like,
goofing around in
It's
the warehouse.
2025. The
Yeah.
fires haven't started yet. We're doing great.
So we came in fast and loose and
With the
feral.
quickness.
Yeah.
We
Goofy
apologize
as
again.
fuck.
I don't apologize for anything.
I apologize for all of it.
I apologize for nothing. You are welcome, everybody.
We had
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
I mean, as far back as that episode with that dog training sequence where we had skateboarding teens, I was like, one day on this podcast, these characters are going to have to compete in a skateboard contest.
Hooray. I remember that.
I've
That
been
was a
thinking
fun
about it
time.
for so long.
Can we talk also about how adorably sapphic this podcast has become?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Pretty gay.
that was gay. That was gay as hell.
I love the gays. I'm a big fan of the gays.
Controversial.
I have trouble looking into Kristen's eyes for too long without thinking of gay thoughts.
Yes.
And
I feel the same way.
Now,
Really?
question.
Never would
Is
have guessed.
skateboarding as a idea.
Gay.
Yeah.
Gay.
Very.
Why?
Wheels.
That's what I was thinking too. Thank you,
I was
Lynn.
gonna say
Yes.
riding wood.
Wheels. No, wheels.
It's the wheels.
Wheels
What is
make it
what's
gay?
gay about wheels?
Ball bearings.
They're so round. There's not a straight edge on them.
Okay, I'm taking out the party points.
It's not a straight edge on it.
I
You
literally was
asshole.
in like a gay music
You're
video
a bad
on
person.
skateboards, and the project was titled Wheels.
No, I honestly, like, I couldn't tell. I mean, there's definitely something butch about skateboarding. That's certainly true.
Yeah.
But also femme skateboarders.
Yeah, also true. Like, for me, like, I just played a lot of Tony Hawk Pro Skater on my best friend's Dreamcast, who I secretly had a crush on, but was too young to know I was gay yet. So, like, I associate specifically the video game franchise Tony Hawk's Pro Skater with being gay.
Yeah, I got it. That makes perfect sense.
I bet Tony Hawk,
would like
if he
that.
heard that, would be like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Someone send that to Tony Hawk.
Yeah. Tony
he's
Hawk.
around.
I know you're listening.
Next time I see him at
Yeah, honestly, the amount of celebrities I've seen it.
Way to
Yeah,
blow up the
spot.
spot, guys.
Sorry.
I'm
No,
gonna cut
we're
that.
gonna
I'm
cut
gonna
that out because we're gatekeeping that.
Yeah.
We should just
No.
we should keep that in, but bleep out the place.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funnier. That's funnier. Yeah, do it.
So once more, the place is called.
But I was a huge fan of that game, so I thought I wondered if like anybody had done it in Dungeons and Dragons before,
Oops, all skateboards.
like specifically skateboard contest mechanic, like where you
Like
do a
kids on-
trick and you get points and and you win.
Yeah,
Kids on bikes, but
usually-
kids on skateboards.
Yeah, kids on skateboards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a skateboard like expansion to Kids on Bikes. I think.
Is there?
I think there's a skateboard. I think that's happened.
That could be
Whatever.
fun for like a whole campaign's worth.
Yeah.
Really, what I wanted was the mini game that we could
Yes.
put into
Well, there's also
D&D.
Slug Blaster, which just came out, which is all about
Oh,
skateboarding
yeah.
in the 90s.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Love
yeah.
See,
that.
other campaigns we could be doing
Yeah.
where you guys are the skateboarding teams in New Prosper.
Yeah.
One shot potential?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes,
Yes.
please.
That
Slug
should be
Blaster
another
one
detour
shot.
as we do
Hell
a
yeah.
one shot of something else. Just like throw a weird thing in the.
This is definitely a thing we've been talking about,
Yeah.
but the only trick is, especially with a detour like today, where we didn't know it was happening, a one shot is a thing you kind of
You have to prep.
for.
Yeah, prep.
But like we
I
could
would love
flip.
to.
She
Okay.
might
So
I
that
could do it
Mischa
and you
can
could play.
That would be great. I would love that.
Yeah.
Like a future episode coming for sure.
I would love
For
to.
sure.
I'm also terrified of DMing, which means it's something that I need to do in my
Oh, yeah,
future.
1,000,000%.
So whenever anybody wants to push me to actually do the thing,
Okay.
I need
Well-
that push.
Well,
Yeah.
it's as easy as saying, I think there should be a game that does that, and then we do it.
Yeah.
So I kind of just spent some time on the Tony Hawk Pro Skater wiki. I found like somebody who had done it on itch.io, and I don't want to blow up their spot because the PDF did say at the bottom, "Hey, this isn't licensed Tony Hawk. Please don't sue me." And I'm not trying to blow up
Yeah.
their spot or anything, but like, I'll send them a private message that thanks them for like helping us with the podcast.
Yeah.
But like, it was fun to just have a score
Yeah.
in a friendly way. Like in Dungeons and Dragons, you're always trying to like hit someone until they get to 0 and then
Yeah.
they die.
Yeah.
But like, I also like games, like normal board games where you count up scores and then there's a winner at the end.
Yes, I
There's no
agree.
winner in Dungeons and Dragons, but like that doesn't mean you can't make little mini games where somebody
Yeah.
wins.
Until you
Yeah.
make your pop star game where instead of regular initiative, you have glamour initiative. And the
What?
only way to win is to roll for points to be the best in the Battle of the Bands competition, a thing that I actually did.
Oh my god!
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yeah,
When's
you
that
can
one shot?
absolutely that's the one shot. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm
Loosely
living.
inspired by the first level of Final Fantasy X-2.
Sure, I was thinking
Nerd.
Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory. So
There you
like,
go.
we're right there.
Nerds.
There's that as well.
Love a minigame.
Anyway,
Skateboarding's
minigames, yes.
gay.
Yeah.
I have a future request.
Yeah.
It just hit me.
Yeah.
So we've played 2 mini games, right? We played the Debts mini game.
Yep.
And we played the skateboard mini
And the
game.
Gordon cooking mini game.
And the Gordon cooking mini game. All 3 of them super fun mini games, but like not a lot on the line.
Ooh, stakes. Yeah.
When we are deep in a dungeon, I pitch and request an episode where there's a mini game in the dungeon, but like the stakes
a life or death.
are like, yeah.
A
Like
Yu-Gi-Oh! Shadows, like how
Yeah.
they did it in the OG Yu-Gi-Oh! manga. Where it's like a game for the marbles.
Well, technically, the Shadow Realm is supposed to be killing people.
yeah, I know. Yeah, in the
So-
manga, it fucking does.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this for the skateboarding minigame, like, there were prizes on the line.
Yes.
You wouldn't have won them.
Yes.
Yeah.
It turns out that y'all did a really good job at the skateboarding game that we played, and you did, in fact, win all of the prizes that I laid out for you, that Kristen and I laid out for you.
Yes, Kristen.
Including
Pretty good at
vocabulary.
skateboarding.
So much vocabulary. That was so deranged.
That was delightful.
Pork yeah.
You can always count on Kristen DiMercurio to say some fucking nonsense, can't you?
And that's why I love her so much.
Yes, that was so totally Ribbon. Is
I
the
know.
one
Yes.
that
I was
stands
like,
out
how
to me.
long did you spend coming up with this? And she's like, the whole time you had your production meeting. I was like, what?
She had a whole
She did
list
it
in a
in
notebook.
an hour. Yeah.
Also,
like,
Lopian
hello?
wrecked me.
Yeah.
You guys couldn't see it at home, but like, so the party points list is chaos, right?
Yeah.
It's madness.
Yeah, we can't read it.
Yeah.
Mischa tried to
And-
translate it and could not.
I'm the only one who can read it
I
because
love it.
It's arcane knowledge.
Yeah. Kristen rolled in with a notebook and like several different colored felt tip fine point markers.
Yes.
And was like drawing beautiful designs around her list of crazy words.
Yeah, because she can't focus on games unless she's doodling.
Right. I'm similar, which is why I do the party points, but mine looks like shit and hers is amazing in a cool notebook.
Because women.
Do you remember, Ian, when you and Kristen played in a previous game that I GM'd?
Yes.
And we were based in this cozy little like Stardew Valley town, and I came up with this whole cast of characters that were all doing their own things while you were on adventures.
Cute.
And like while we were playing, Kristen would just do little doodles of each of the characters, and then I put them into Roll20, the digital tabletop, and like we used those as the
character tokens?
Yeah, those
I
character
love
tokens. They were so
that.
cute.
I love that.
That was deep COVID.
Yeah, that was deep.
Oh my god.
That was a game on Zoom on Roll20.
Is
was
that when
Wow,
Kristen
that's
learned
deep
that she
COVID.
loved messing with you?
I think so.
Love
Might
Probably
be.
specifically.
Might be.
Yeah.
We actually played sort of like parallel but not super interactory characters.
Yeah. Coming back to the game of it. Yeah, if you guys had not, there was stuff on the line. It may not have come off that way while we were playing because you did really well and you got all the prizes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But during the skateboarding contest, if you had gotten the bronze prize, was getting the kids to tell you about the urban legends around the factory.
Nice.
Right.
The silver prize was getting their help breaking into the office.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the gold prize was your new Bright Astra scanner.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love the
So,
new
like-
Bright Astra scanner.
And
Yeah,
we cut ourselves off a little bit here with this detour of like seeing how that's going to come into play. But I don't know about you. I imagine that to be a huge game changer
Yeah,
for this
that's gonna be
campaign.
massive.
changer.
That's
That's going to be absolutely
It
massive.
makes me so happy.
It
I'm
does.
excited.
I'm curious. What would have the consequences have been had we not done well at all?
Yeah.
Combat.
The-
Fight the kids.
honestly, I think the kids would have said like, "Losers, get out of our spot."
Yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had.
And then they would have
free
gotten
reign.
killed by
We
whatever's
had to
in the
break
basement.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Now
yeah,
we get to save some
Yikes.
kids.
yeah. Like,
And a blossoming early relationship.
yeah, like thank goodness y'all are there and did do well because now Seika's in trouble and you're
Yeah.
here to help and you didn't get kicked out.
Yeah.
Seika would have been in trouble even if we hadn't been there. And
Yeah.
now we're here.
That's what, right. Sega's in trouble. I need a little sip of water. I don't know about anybody else.
I
but
need one too.
when we get back, I am dying to know what the fuck is in the basement.
So concerned.
Hopefully, it's not dying.
What? Oh my god.
Hey there, it's Mischa. This is the rest stop. Come take a break beside the path with me, just until we catch our breath. Thank you again for sticking with us along this particular detour, where all I did was try to catch my breath. The world moves at a blazing pace, and when you're disabled, sometimes it's hard to keep up. I'm doing what I can out here, and I really do appreciate the company here on this bench? Is that what we're sitting on at this rest stop? I don't know. The bit's kind of getting away from me. All I know is I've barely had a chance to catch my breath all year, and I really needed the extra break. So thanks. Speaking of a year, we are closing in on the first anniversary of The Wandering Path. That is truly wild. How are we doing? Is it good? Do you like what's going on here? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. We're celebrating this turn around the sun as a precious win, and we'd love to celebrate with y'all. If you want to write into us, you can do that anytime via the contact form at our website, wanderingpathpod.com. Please do. We love to hear from you. If indeed you're liking what we do here, one of the best ways to ensure that we can keep it going for many more years to come is, of course, signing up with us at patreon.com/wanderingpathpod. We could not have kept this going for this long without the direct support of listeners like you. You're paying for our hosting fees, our equipment maintenance, our meal breaks so that sometimes we can record 2 episodes in a day to make sure that we can stay ahead of our chaotic lives. Seriously, you make this show possible. As usual, a big shout out in every episode to our Voyager level patrons and above, JWX, Aubrey L, Clara Sight, The Queer Mess, and Madison M. And I hope you enjoyed your special early access to our WonderCon 25 live show, which I put up this past week. If stuff like that sounds good to you, if you want bloopers and ad-free apps and whatever other goodies we can think of, or if you simply want to give us life, sustain us, and bring us to new seasons, please help us out at patreon.com/wanderingpathpod. We are sponsored again this week by Mage Hand Press, creators of the fantastic D&D book Valda's Spire of Secrets. Mage Hand Press is also celebrating a big milestone. They just turned 10, and to celebrate, they've put together the Valda's Spire of Secrets player pack for D&D Beyond. Never play a human fighter again. Whether you're playing a legally distinct Spider-Man rogue, a warlock whose patron is your future self, or a murderous plushy Geppetton, that's right, a living teddy bear, the Valda's player pack will make your next character into an all-time favorite. Valda's is such a cool book, you guys. The kinds of things it lets you do breaks D&D wide open. The Gunslinger class gives you trick shots and increases your chances for a critical hit. The War Mage class takes those tiny 0-level cantrip spells and makes them a lethal tool belt of abilities. And the Martyr class forgoes confusing spell slots and instead merely asks, how much of your life are you willing to sacrifice to make something big happen? I've actually had a Martyr character built for a while now, and I'm just waiting for my partner Erin to finally get a campaign going so I can play it. Erin, this is a call out for you, my love. This hardly scratches the surface of the cool stuff Mage Hand Press has come up with, and you can get a taste of the very best right now. The player pack includes 6 subclasses, 2 species, 12 spells, including chronomancy, the most powerful magic of all, and new feats and magic items. You simply have to check it out. Go to magehandpress.com to see everything they make. One more time, check them out at magehandpress.com. Okay, that's it for now. Let's get back on the path and back to the show.
And we're back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so let's talk about what's really going on in this factory, shall
Yes.
What in the fork?
What in the glitch?
Well, and one thing I thought was really cool too is I've been seeding this like old factory for a little while. One of the things I kind of knew going in was that these kids hang out at this factory because there's weird physics stuff they can do skateboarding with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's their spot. And so to be able to like seed some of the elements of the mystery into the skateboarding game that like hopefully y'all were like too distracted by trying to do skateboarding good to like really clock it in the moment was pretty fun, and then it like seeded the investigation in the next episode.
Yeah.
It's very unsettling being in a place that it's like liminal spaces, right?
Yeah.
Where this used to be a place where a lot of people worked and a lot of things were happening, and now no one is there.
This used to be very alive.
Yeah, and like the weird things that are left behind, like Weird Spot, like the electrical current area, the portal.
Shit's just weird in pockets around the space.
It's deeply
It was already
unsettling.
been a weird space to begin with. Like,
Yeah.
I think about all the times I've been at, like, malls that aren't completely defunct, where it's like the vibe, like, when I see urban explorers and stuff post stuff from truly abandoned malls, I'm like, that's cool, but it's clearly abandoned.
Right.
Like, it feels haunted, but it's abandoned. It's just, like,
Right.
kind of weird, because, like, I have the nostalgia of, like, I would have hung out there. But, like malls and stuff, or places that still have a little bit of life, but most of it is not
That's
there.
worse somehow.
It's weirder. Like, haunted by something alive feels wild.
That's a great
And
quote.
so, like-
Haunted by something alive is fire.
Yeah, thank
Oh
you.
my God.
And I think this is
But
like
yeah,
that
this
creature.
place feels kind of like that.
but also very literally that creature that
Yeah,
is the glitch zone.
Yeah,
yeah, you guys
that
like went into those like long dark sections.
I
that
need to know what it is.
I know.
And there was
Creature.
something in there.
I have 2 theories: Blink Dog and Displacer Beast.
I love Blink Dogs so much.
I love Displacer Beast.
What's a blink dog? What's a displacer beast? Say more for the people in the audience who don't know what it is.
And me.
So Displacer Beasts I've only met in terrifying situations
Yep.
where they've been trying to murder me.
They're like panthers, but with
A
like
squid.
eldritch tentacle tail.
Yeah.
If you watch the movie, they're featured delightfully in the movie.
They are.
yeah.
They are
They also-
absolutely beautiful.
And they're called displacer beasts because they project an image of themselves next to themselves.
Got
Yeah.
it. Right.
So
Yes,
it's like
yes,
a
yes.
diversion, and then they can attack you.
Yeah. If we're talking the most iconic monsters of like the D&D franchise,
Mimic.
there's
Displacer Beast is up
dungeons,
there, Mimic's up there.
dragons. Those are both monsters in my head.
Beholder.
But it's like
Mimics.
Beholder, Displacer Beast, Gelatinous Cube,
Classic.
Cube.
and then
See, Mind Flayers are probably getting
Mind
up there
Flayers.
because of Baldur's
Mind
Gate 3.
Flayers,
because of Baldur's Gate,
really
yeah.
not mimics.
Oh, and
Mimics, oh, yeah,
Well,
Mimics
Mimics
number
are kind
one.
of like cross.
Yeah.
Well, but I don't think Blink Dog would be up there. So what's a Blink Dog?
So my relationship with the Blink Dog is specific to I was running games at TwitchCon last year, and I was running the 50th anniversary module that they used to help boost or promote the new 2024 Players Handbook. And in there, you run into this Blink Dog that has the sniffles, and so I know,
Does
guys,
it blink every time it sneezes?
It blinks every time it sneezes.
Blinks out of existence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
it blinks out. So the
Oh,
Blink
wait,
Dog
that's
thing is
sad.
it teleports.
Yeah.
It's a dog that can teleport.
Yeah, got it.
So the blink is you from whatever the plane that you're on, you then move into the ethereal plane
Yes.
briefly. So it works. It functions as teleportation, but what is really happening is you're actually going between planes of existence.
You're just
Got
switching.
it.
If you ever watch Bravest Warriors, it's like when Catbug is like, "Wah!" and then just disappears for a little bit.
It is. It's like going to the see-through zone.
Yeah, and it's like sugar peas, drop them. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Precisely
so
like
Blink
that.
Dogs are adorable. So my relationship to the Blink Dog is like I've never run it as an actual monster. In the module that they wrote, it's like you befriend it, and it takes you down the path to like where other stuff's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most people encounter blink dogs as like a dog and less like creature.
Yeah.
Well, everything you guys have fought in this campaign so far is like me making original stuff, like taking bits and
Yes.
pieces from other official D&D sources and mooshing them together into a new monster and then
Yeah.
putting our own original skin on it. So
Love
like,
it.
what makes you think it's going to be in the monster manual?
I'd probably not.
You secretly have submitted something that's in the monster manual, and we don't know about it because it is not out yet.
Lynn, but for paperwork I've signed, I would tell everyone.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, the other thing too is like this creature. So my theory, and I think I said as much in the episode, is like factories typically will test on animals depending on what the thing is, which is a fucked up practice and it should not happen. OSHA approved podcast.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't do that.
No, I think. Well, the other thing too is like in Final Fantasy VII, the only text that exists, the soldiers, the military class in Final Fantasy, they are all Mako infused to like steroids, basically. So it's like if you want to be a soldier, you have to infuse your body with Mako to make you super strong. But one of the side effects of that is you can mutate into a terrible monster. And so like, is this monster either a person that used to be a person and some testing stuff went wrong because we know they were doing experimental technologies here, or is it a creature that was tested on for science things?
I don't think Mischa would have done testing on creatures.
Yeah. Okay. So
Ooh.
there is a time that is perhaps well known in the development of the video game BioShock, where in which you kill little girls and harvest
Yes.
magical chemicals from
sorry,
their
from their,
stomachs.
from their
Yes.
corpse.
This is a real
Unless
thing.
you choose to spare them.
Unless you choose to spare them.
You
That's
can
a big,
choose to spare
That's
them.
like the
Yes.
big moral dichotomy of the game is like
Yes.
whether or not you help these girls or whether you like harvest from them and gain more powers.
Because you can make the
Yeah.
argument
Oh
that it's
my
like
God.
these kids are in a horrifying situation.
It's a lot.
yeah,
But
there's
I-
a lot of arguments to be
That's
made.
so when they were developing the game, originally there was a version of the pitch where instead of being little girls, they were like disabled puppies. And the executives were like, that's too sad. Make them human children
That's
instead.
funny.
What a
Wow.
wild improvement.
Yeah, so like
I
I think
have
it's funny
feelings.
that like in my mind, experimenting on people and they're mutated in the basement, a distinct possibility. Them testing on animals and they mutated in the
couldn't
basement,
possibly.
absolutely not.
BG
It will not be
is
on
an
my
escaped-
podcast.
BG is an escaped experiment dog, confirmed.
No, it would not happen on my podcast.
Never.
Thank you.
Not in my podcast world.
So,
Is it the CEO?
Oh, fuck.
who
That'd be
could
wild.
say?
Like, because
So
my
me looking like the CEO coming up against the CEO turned into a blink dog
Wow.
type thing. That would have been
my
wild.
my theory was that, well, I don't know about the creature that we found, but like as far as like the ghosts and stuff, I was like, they're in the same vein of like a Javi and then not quite a Balvarox, like disappearing into who knows where, I'm like, oh, there's clearly like openings of other planes happening. I'm like, whatever happened here through the use of Astra experimentation or whatever has weakened the threshold.
Yeah, sort of Swiss cheesed it.
Yeah, so I'm like,
Yes.
we were seeing the impacts of that. I was like, oh, all of the weird stuff here is like physics oriented, and like the
Yes.
creature within the thing was like also had some weird physics stuff going on. So I was like, oh, that could be interesting. I don't know if that creature might be a native inhabitant of this other plane and knows what happens when people from outside the plane come in and might still be warning people. Like it could still be like, you know, a prey animal within this plane. And I'm like, that still doesn't bode well for what the fuck is in the basement. Because if it is the predator animal from that plane or some weird distortion mix of something within the factory that then did something weird to something within this other plane, it could have mutated, it could have combined, it could have hybridized, it could have corrupted. I don't know.
Is this
but
our
I'm
way
like,
to get to the Shadow Realm where Javi is?
That's what I was just wondering.
Yeah.
like, is it the same exact plane?
What if that's
or
Javi?
what if it's the soup? What if it's the soup in between planes?
Yeah,
Also,
that
can
too.
we call
I don't
the
know how the metaphysics of
Yeah.
our world works.
Yeah. There could be like
They're
transitional
both
planes.
in story and in real life. I don't know how this
Yeah.
shit works.
Yeah.
I couldn't possibly say. My brain is on a day off from running the physics engine of the world today. Sorry.
that's
You've
fine.
got such a shit-eating grin on your face.
I have a request.
Yes,
Can we call the not Balvarox the Balvaraith?
sure.
The one that
Sick.
fused together into a big
Yeah.
one. Ooh.
I'm going to call it Wraith Rocks.
Wraith Rocks!
Wraith Rocks.
That's
I'm going to call it
Damn
Pop Rocks.
I'm going to call it Tim.
Ooh.
That's a party point.
God damn it!
Yeah.
So I'm scared about it. I am wondering if it's our way into the other world.
Yeah.
And
Or
I'm
gives us
wondering
insight about it. Like,
yeah, I mean that I find more likely because wouldn't it be crazy if we've been like spending so much time wondering about going into the tunnels and worrying, and then we take this hard left turn and we spend like an arc in another plane?
Oh,
whoa.
That'd be pretty wild.
Imagine if Javi's in the basement with my Naginata.
Yeah, I'm curious.
What if there's nothing there? What if he's just chilling?
What if he's
Just
just
chilling. Like on an Xbox, hanging out.
He's like, I want
I got
company.
an
Here, I'm stealing a
Xbox.
child. That
Yeah.
would suck.
yeah. I'm wondering. Yeah, what state?
no,
was
she's
Faker
hanging out.
in?
She's player 2.
Yeah.
They're just playing Halo.
He just needed a co-op for the
Yeah.
level.
It's like, finally, a friend.
Yeah.
It's like, quick! I can't clear this boss fight.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening down there,
But
actually.
it's just hobby and sake of playing Xbox.
My
Yep.
AU,
Yeah.
my AU, where everything's fine.
I've just remembered, guys.
What?
I should take you on the party points corner.
Yes!
Now that you're doing this.
Here we go. Mayana currently has 5, 10, 15, 19 party points. Bex has 5, 10, 12, and then you had 15, but you lost 3 points.
Yeah, I remember that.
For
feels
toss
correct.
your nuts. You lost points for toss your nuts.
Yeah, yeah. We learned that we can lose party points if we fly too close to the sun.
Yeah.
Just call me Icarus. I'm going to keep doing it.
There you go.
Good Lord. Lynn has 5, 10, 15, 20 even. You had
Whoa.
21, but you lost one.
Oh.
I have a bunch of scribbled out points. It's really hard for me to tell. I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I have 10 party points.
At what point do we give you a digital spreadsheet?
I love that
Yeah.
you can't even read this.
I know, it's
Or like
chaos.
on your phone or something.
I will. I'll
Yeah,
do
you
that
got
eventually.
this.
No, it's funnier
We're
this way.
all doing a lot.
You know, it was so simple to keep track of when we had only recorded 2 or 3 episodes, but now we're like 20
I'm going to
in.
make you a
I live.
spreadsheet, okay?
I love that.
Yeah.
Mischa has 5, 10, 15, 20, 21 points.
Yes!
Yes.
Leader.
Well, in fairness, I guess I do the most talking, like normally.
Yeah,
That
you
does
better
help.
have the most points. Aaron has 3 party points. Congratulations, Aaron.
Yes, Erin.
Max has been attempting to be a part of the podcast 5, 10, 15, 21 times as well.
And that's only that we've recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There have been so many times that we haven't marked it down.
I think those are kind of the only updates. Gold star count, Mischa has 1, Lynn has 3, Bex has 2, I have 4, Mayana has 4, Aaron has 3.
Whoa,
Nice.
Erin's up there.
The current party crown belongs to Bex.
Hell yes.
From October 26th for Mayana can't use keys.
Yeah, I can't.
That will
It's
always be funny to
true.
me. I'm so sorry.
Times
It's all
Mayana
good.
and I were late. Mayana 2, Ian 2.
That's on the points board.
I'm glad it is.
So that's the
Thank you so much.
Points Corner.
Thank you,
Bravo.
Points Corner.
It's really, again, 20 episodes in. It's getting a little unwieldy.
Yeah, it's getting a little. We might have to do some pruning and let some new growth happen.
We have to take the party points over to the prize wall. and
Oh yeah,
turn them
that
into some prizes.
that was 2024. We could start a new
2025 party points digitized.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna noodle on this and come back to it.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
scared.
We can have it up on the website with no context,
That's a great call.
like current point standing.
That's fun. I love that.
okay.
Love that.
If anybody else wants to do that, go for
Great.
it.
Deal.
Speaking of other people doing things for me, let's go to the listener questions.
Yes! The question in your voice.
Was that it? Was that anything?
That's the one. That's
We
the
love a
look.
stretch.
You stuck the landing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's giving segue.
Thank you so much. Let's start with the easy questions right out the bat with some pairings and whatnot.
Great.
Our patron JWS asked us to describe your character in 3 memes or less.
Has a party point, just so you know, from last
Oh,
year.
nice.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and say, because we're on a podcast and I don't want to spend a million hours researching memes, describe your character with a meme.
I can describe Gordon exactly at this moment with a meme.
Do it.
It's the meme with the guy and the girlfriend walking down the city street, and then the guy's turned around
Yes.
looking at the other girl,
Yeah.
right? So the girlfriend I'm walking with is a pastry over it. And
Not
then-
words, like a
It's just a picture of a
Yeah,
pastry.
like a badly edited PNG file.
Yeah. And then the thing I'm looking at, like, ooh, is Ghost Investigation.
As of this episode, JJ is the really dejected, smoking Ben Affleck.
Oh, yeah. The one that's just going,
Yeah, that.
Holy
That's
shit.
that is quite. That is the only place where JJ was at
Yeah.
that whole episode.
You know, and I think teenagers just do that to you sometimes, you know?
Well, the funny part was the teenagers weren't the reason for it. JJ was already kind of there, and then the teenagers were just like an accentuated
Yeah.
thing to deal with. Which was my favorite thing, where JJ was like, I don't care about impressing you right now. We have a mystery.
Yeah.
But now you're making me skateboard, so I will focus on that
that's so
too.
funny.
Would JJ ever get a full back phoenix tattoo like
Ooh.
Ben Affleck?
Who says that she doesn't?
So
honestly.
funny.
I could not get those words out of my mouth.
I'm thinking Ibra might be that just Mike Wazowski staring at the camera, but his face has been replaced with Sully's.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, right.
Just like, huh?
Yeah, that
Which is
one.
like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, just in every sort of scenario, huh?
yeah, pretty much.
I have 2. One is, it's an old TikTok sound that was like, drink iced coffee, panic attack. Drink iced coffee, panic attack. And then bisexual, like girls only know how to be bisexual, eat hot chip and lie.
Yeah.
Or contender for third, a meme that we just shared on the Chillin' Discord.
Yes.
Lace vest.
Oh yeah, the lace high visibility
safety
vest. Yeah.
We're definitely going to have to post that one
Yeah,
on
we're gonna have
Instagram.
to post that
Yes,
one.
we will.
I think
Definitely on our feed.
the other contender for Ibra is the This Is Fine dog sitting in the fiery
Oh yeah,
room.
this is fine.
Yeah,
that's
the-
all of
That's
us.
the whole party.
That's
Yeah.
everybody.
And
Yeah.
well, I think specifically for Ibra, the fire just has General Shinmar's face.
Yes. Yeah.
Good times, good times.
Next one. This is one I just threw on the list because I've been thinking about it a lot. Of all of our characters, and we'll throw NPCs on the list too because this will be fun. Do we think our characters are Booba or Kiki?
Oh, I love
yes.
this
Yes, we were talking about this the
So,
other
so
day.
before we go
Okay.
into it,
Yeah.
if for those who don't know what Booba and Kiki is, there's a sociological experiment,
Yeah.
a psychological
So it was
experiment.
sociological, psychological, and linguistic.
Yeah.
Sure. Experiment where a group of people across different cultures were shown like
Two shapes.
two shapes. One of them is kind of spiky and pointy, and one of them kind of looks like the Nickelodeon Splat.
Yeah, it's like, all curves, all
Yeah.
round.
And you go up to anybody and sort of ask them, like, of these two shapes, which one is Booba and which one is Kiki? And, like, just with those words and with no other context.
Yes.
And a shocking number of people will choose the same thing.
Yeah,
I have had it
It's like
100%.
It's like universal.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
never had anyone do it the opposite way.
The round one is Booba and the sharp one
Sharp,
is Kiki.
pokey one is Kiki. Yeah.
It just makes sense.
And so recently I followed a Tumblr account that labels Tumblr posts as Booba or Kiki, and I thought it'd be fun.
God.
I thought it'd be fun to do it with our characters.
I love it.
All right, who wants to go first?
I think Gordon. Where am I? I think Gordon is Booba. I think Ibra is Booba.
I think Ibra's Booba.
I think Ibra's Booba.
I think JJ is Kiki.
Oh yeah, JJ's too Kiki to function.
and I think Fran is also Kiki.
I think Fran's
think
Kiki.
so.
I think
Yeah.
Fran is Kiki, but is desperately trying to hide it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I
yes.
think like it's like Ibra was raised to be Kiki and is Booba, and Fran is Kiki and wants to be Booba.
Yes.
What the fuck are we saying?
We're
This
saying
is-
Kiki and Booba. What are you? Or where
My,
are
my
you?
caffeine is fading right now, and as you were speaking, I was like, "Am I having a stroke?"
Sorry, Darby.
No,
Our-
this is exactly why I wanted to do this
Yes.
question on the podcast.
Yes.
Well, okay. You know that older meme that was like very, very. This is very Tumblrina.
Tumblerina ballerina.
But looks like a cinnamon roll is actually a cinnamon
Yes,
roll.
trying to
like,
kill
like,
you.
Like,
We should
looks
also do
like
that
they can
one.
kill you. Can actually
Yeah,
like
the
blah blah
Punnett
blah.
Square.
So it's like it's doing that, but with Booba and Kiki.
Yeah. What about NPCs?
I think Paz is pretty Kiki.
I think Paz is Booba until the lightning comes, and
Yeah.
then Paz is Kiki.
Until
Yeah,
the
Yeah, that's what I
lightning
mean.
comes.
went
Thank
from
you.
a Booba to Kiki transition.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love
and-
trans representation.
I mean, I think lightning itself is just super Kiki.
Yeah,
Very.
Lightning
So-
is
Very Kiki.
like
Yes,
atomically.
Yeah.
Kiki.
Okay, but Samira though.
Samira is Kiki, I
Yeah.
think.
I think
Because
she's
she's
Kiki.
doing activism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Samira's Kiki.
Samira's Kiki.
I think Javi wants to be Kiki also, but Javi's
Javi's
pretty
Booba.
I think
so
Javi's
Booba.
Booba.
Javi's hella
Booba.
Booba.
Yeah.
Gwen.
I think BG's Booba.
BG
Yes.
is
Yeah.
Booba.
Big Booba.
Big Booba
Booba.
energy.
BB.
General
Dan
Shinmar
Nikki.
is Kiki.
Yeah.
Brahma and Hema.
Wow.
think-
Oh man.
Oh, I think Hima's Booba.
Hema is Booba,
Yeah.
and Brahma is
That's
Kiki.
Kiki.
Yeah.
Hima's the kikiest Booba you can be, but still Booba.
Yeah.
It's
Love
like
it.
a
Really
cat.
at the threshold.
And again, the triplets are agender, so they
Yeah.
they really defy Booba and Kiki in a way.
Oh, do you think Booba and Kiki is gendered?
No,
No,
but
let's talk about it.
well, at first I was trying to go through. I was like, "Whoa!" I do think it's kind of interesting that we're assigning a lot of women Kiki, and I was like, "What's
Yeah.
that about?" And I was like,
Kiki's
"It's because
powerful.
all of the women in this game have a very underlying sense of like feral energy."
Yeah, no kidding.
That's just
and that's called womanhood.
that is powerful womanhood, and there's nothing to be done about it.
Does anyone in this room that they can recall know a single woman who is Booba?
I've met several Booba women.
Okay.
Yeah.
You feel very. I mean, you maybe disagree with me, but you feel very Booba to me.
Aw, in my life.
Yeah,
in
the
your
Maya
heart of
I meet
hearts.
before and after doing the podcast feels very Booba. to me.
You create Booba space for even the kikiest
Yes.
of kikis.
That's what I try to do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm Kiki as fuck in real life.
Yeah, that's true.
and I'll say this.
That's true.
Erin is making some faces in the corner because I think Erin is very Booba.
I think
Yeah.
so
Aaron's
too.
super Booba.
Yeah.
Aaron's super Booba.
in that
Booba.
you're like warm and inviting to everyone who comes into your space.
But now everyone look at Max. Kiki is a motherfucker.
The kikiest dog you'll ever
kikiest
meet in
dog.
your life.
I know.
Also,
probably
it's so
yes.
Booba shaped.
Booba
I know,
shaped,
and that's
but
how he
Kiki-
gets
Yeah,
you.
that's how
The
he gets
Kiki
you.
spirit.
Okay, here's the thing. My wife is a Gemini, so we'll switch back and forth from Booba to Kiki.
Okay, there
Yeah,
you go.
I can see that.
I'm also dating a Gemini now.
Isn't it great?
It is really fun.
As a personal Gemini, tell me what you like about dating Geminis.
Ooh, okay, so this is my second Gemini, but the other one was in high school. So
You
I
mean
feel
your
like-
fourth?
Yeah, my fourth Gemini.
There it is.
I think it is interesting because it is truly like two people. Like it is like, okay, so I'm dealing with this person who has these needs, and then there's sometimes this other person who's visiting, and you're like, okay, hold on, no, wait a second, because are you saying you don't like dating Geminis?
I
or-
am a Gemini.
You am.
He
You
is
are
a-
a Gemini.
he-
You're
am a
also a
Gemini.
Gemini.
Oh, you're so Gemini. Muy bien. But I think, I think like, I don't know. But the thing that I really love about it too is like Gemini, I think, do veer to be more like creative and more like free thinking
Yeah, damn right.
and playful.
That's
The
definitely you.
mischief,
Yeah.
the inherent mischievousness of like the twins, you know, I
Yeah.
think there's like, that's really fun. So those are the things I enjoy about it.
It's always a delight. It's always the most interesting mystery of all time that you feel like you figured it out, and then there's a twist.
Yeah.
And to me, there's never anything malicious in that mystery. It's always inviting and entertaining and delightful.
Yes.
And I do have to make it clear that like Booba and Kiki are not like inherently like this one. Booba's good and Kiki bad.
No.
It's more along the lines of like
It's an intensity vibe.
No,
it's
type
an
A, type B.
intensity.
It's round versus sharp.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And
And
sharp
there's no-
can have functions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also like flexibility versus
Rigidity.
which also kind of means like accommodation versus like initiative.
And
Yes.
sharp can be comforting.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes. And
Well,
also like
yeah, bed
sometimes
of
you
nails.
need like sometimes you need a knife to cut through bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to slice up the
Dollar
bread.
knives are less safe.
yep. Mm-hmm. And I personally love like the pressure of something sharp, just gently enough. That it's-
Acupuncture.
Talk about not safe for work now.
Well,
Do we have another listener question?
yeah, well, first off, I do just have to quickly reset my counter for how many days since Mischa edited a podcast that inexplicably turned to astrology against their will.
Yeah.
I'm just going to erase that and go back down to 0. Okay, moving
Love
on.
resetting your counter.
The moon is always full. Ooh. Just so we know.
That's what they say. Our next listener question is from Hero Supanchek. Hi, Hero. My lovely friend. Hero asks, as someone who dreams about my friends all the time, how often do you have dreams with your friends in them?
The characters or us as players?
I think us as players. We don't spend enough time on detours talking about us just
As
us.
humans, yeah.
Can I? Okay. I didn't put this in the Discord and I feel remiss. I had a dream about all of us.
Was it a prophecy? Are we gonna do
Oh my
some
God!
shit?
Were we in resplendent armor from a bygone age?
We were doing an escape room.
Oh my
I do want to do one all together.
So it might have been a prophecy.
Do you remember the dream? Can you tell us the dream real fast?
Yeah, so that
I-
way we can do the escape room better.
Yes. Okay. I don't remember everything because it's been a couple weeks,
Yeah.
but I do remember like everybody totally slipped into their characters naturally.
Ooh.
And Ian pulled a magnifying glass out of absolutely nowhere. It was like out of thin air,
Hammer
and like
space.
sort of had the
hat.
Sherlock Holmes hat and everything.
Sweet.
And
And I wasn't
Lynn,
using keys.
you
Sorry,
genuinely
Lynn was in the middle of drinking water.
you genuinely had a bag of holding and you couldn't get a key to work in a lock, and Lynn had to come over and make the key work. And I felt like that's just rude. I'm so sorry I did that to you.
No, that's
Yeah.
fine.
And I was
Wow.
just kind of bouncing around trying to brute force my way through everything.
There you go.
And everybody had to come stop me and be like, no.
That's not inaccurate in how you approach escape rooms.
Look, you know what? We've never been in an escape room together. You
Yes,
don't
we
know.
have.
We have?
Yes, we have. Dougie was there.
Oh my God, Dougie was there.
We were blindfolded and handcuffed.
Are you sure this was an escape room?
Look, I'm
Because
sober now. I have to make new memories. I lost so many of them.
Yeah.
Dog was there.
I was
I
blindfolded
know.
once for an escape room, and they put us in separate cells, and we had to like. Some people could see one part of the outside, and other people could see the other part of the outside, and we had to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the coordination.
Yeah.
I love escape
The
rooms.
teamwork is
Love
so fun.
escape rooms. I
Yeah.
keep talking about escape rooms with people. I talked about escape rooms with my doctor recently.
Oh.
Maybe it is prophecy. Maybe
think
it's a
it is.
prophecy that we're going to do an escape room.
Yeah, and then
It
we'll
is.
talk about it on the next detour.
Yeah.
And I do dream about my friends a lot. Sometimes it's sort of prophecy vibes where something will happen later in my life or in my experience, and I'm like, ooh, deja vu. Pretty sure I had
Yes.
a dream about this. And it's
Yeah.
super
Yes.
trippy. But also just like my friends doing silly things or showing up as that random alien counter in the middle of a giant spaceship has Ian standing behind it. That's weird.
Ooh.
Okay.
I definitely dream about my friends often and like people in my life, but often it'll be people swapped in like
For other people.
for other people. So it'll be like, yes, like here's my friend Ian, but like a completely random person.
He's like
cast.
playing
Yes.
another. He's
Yes,
playing a
yes,
character.
yes.
I'm like, that's Ian. No, not even that. Well, sometimes it happens, but usually it's like, here are my friends. Like, here's my partner, Kristen. And it'll be, I don't know who's playing her. I don't know who that is.
But like
bizarre
your brain
casting.
doesn't do that in the moment. Your brain's like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
Kristen.
that's clearly very obviously this person
It's
who I
it's
know
like the
super well.
AI version of Kristen DiMercurio.
No, it's literally just like someone got cast. Like
You
it
have to
has
play the
no-
role of your partner.
But like you're so deep in the kayfabe that like you're just
Yeah.
living, that's my partner.
Exactly.
You only realize it when you wake up and you're explaining the dream. You're like, okay, so you and me were together. Except weirdly, it wasn't you,
Yeah,
but
you
it was
weren't
you.
you.
But it also switched like 3 times. So it was
Yes.
you, and then it was also like my dreams are also very cinematic often. So it's like it like adapts to the plot, and the plot does not make sense usually. So then it'll be like, yeah, so it was you at first, and then you ended up becoming a doctor, and then the doctor we were doing things because the doctor was really important because of the thing exploding, and
Makes
so
sense. Yep.
so
I'm
we
still
needed to
following.
do that, and then but then that turned into going to a house party, and then you were the host.
I have a
what my
lot
dreams
of
are like
dreams
too,
that
yeah.
take place at house parties, actually.
That's
Really?
interesting.
I have a lot of
I've not been
dreams
to enough
where
house
like
parties.
I'm at an infinite house party where like because my vibe when I go to house parties is I like float from room to room like a party cryptid.
Yeah.
And so
Mischa, you are a cryptid.
I know, but like that's just how I go to parties. And so like a lot of my dreams are like me floating through an infinite house party like a party cryptid trying to find someone, and the whole dream is just like me attempting to find the person I'm trying to find and not finding them.
Yeah.
I love this as a narrative loop.
I have a lot of dreams that are like trying to do a thing and then I never achieve it. I'm just constantly like in the process of the effort.
Do you want to know my nightmare that I had like when I was 10 or under that I still remember clear as day?
Yes.
I'm in a like a city, like a New York City alleyway in the middle of the day, full bright, like brick wall alleyway, and I'm running from a Jurassic Park Jeep, not the green and yellow ones, like the gray and red Jeep,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
being driven by the dinosaurs.
This feels so
That
right.
would be
They've
additionally
learned how to
frightening.
drive.
That would be
Nature
additionally
always finds a
frightening.
way.
And they're
Clever
not,
girl.
They're not sitting in the Jeep seats like humans. Like they're just standing. They're sort of like
Like
stacked
T-posing.
in the Jeep.
No,
in the
that's
Jeep.
literally like when I was a kid, I would have my Jurassic Park toys.
Yes,
and like
and-
and I stick the dinosaur figurine on top of the car,
Exactly
and
like
then
that.
have it Fast and Furious
Oh my
Yes.
god.
throughout
And I'm just
the weird Pokemon worlds that I set
Oh
up
my
for
God.
it.
And I'm running, and then you're doing that thing in your dream where you're trying to run, but it feels
And it
like you're running
feels
through
like
water. And I've never forgotten it.
I have mine, and I have to put it to record because it's one of the most vivid dreams I've ever had, and it is the weirdest dream I've probably ever had. And it was the night before my high school graduation, which was my high school Gemini boyfriend's birthday the next day.
Okay.
I was in the basement of a house of a friend that I used to have when I lived in Michigan. I was not living in Michigan at the time. I was wearing my uniform from the high school that I was going to be graduating from.
Hot.
And I was, yes, exactly.
Okay.
And I was staring out because we lived in, in Michigan's like spooky woods. So it was like Twilight era, like foggy woods.
God,
And
yes.
all of a sudden I felt the urge and I was like, I'm about to give birth to a baby right now.
What?
And then I did give birth to this weird gray baby.
Gray baby.
In the basement of this house of a friend that I hadn't spoken to since middle school, the night before my high school graduation.
Wow.
And if that's not a fucking metaphor about moving into a different phase of life,
Hey.
I don't know what is.
Gray
I guess it
baby.
is. I actually couldn't really say.
I'm not a dream interpreter, but
But what the fuck?
There's a lot happening
There's a
there.
lot.
But I think it was like, okay, I'm being reborn.
Yeah,
I'm,
sure.
I'm
Were-
changing.
You were the gray baby?
I think I mean it was a part of me.
You had to leave the parts of you that are a gray baby behind.
Yeah, I had to leave
or
the
you
gray
needed
baby.
you needed to remove it from yourself so you can love it and nurture it into a gray
Yeah.
adult.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I mean any of these interpretations. But to answer the original question, yes, I do dream about my friends often.
Yeah, for sure.
Next question.
Well, I actually, I kind of wanted to, so when you guys have those moments of like, oh yeah, that person in that dream, but also you weren't them, or that urge of like having dreams where you're constantly attempting something but never successfully completing it. Like, can I ask you guys how you think that applies to the actual dream that kicked off this campaign?
Oh, me.
Like,
yeah.
can you guys just for funsies, like apply some of that logic to what you guys saw? For
Well,
me.
it's very nerve-wracking because I do think the prophecy as, stated, or the way that it felt in the moment when it was happening to our characters was these insurmountable odds, forces beyond our control, people who are not listening to us, people who aren't interested in listening to us, a person that we know as a catalyst for destruction, and a force so big that we cannot actually beat it and we fall into the abyss and die.
Hey, whoa, way to bring the room down.
That's the dream as it
It
happens.
is.
Yeah.
It's literally the prophecy is we lose.
Yeah.
That we know of, because like that's the thing
We
with
got
dreams,
pushed
right?
off
Like
the
I
edge.
very regular, like in my real life, when a dream is really gripping and like something wakes me up, I like force myself to go to sleep to be like finish.
I have to.
the
I have to
story.
see the
And I
rest.
never get to
Finish
finish
the
it.
story.
which you never-
Sometimes it happens.
You
That's
lucky
lucky.
bitch.
It's really nice for me when that does, because I have amazing willpower.
Your brain
yeah,
is
you
like,
do.
nah, you gotta want it.
Yeah.
You gotta want it.
You gotta earn it.
You gotta want it. You gotta be late for work if you want to see the end of this one.
I work from home and I freelance and I am underemployed, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, so I'm like, that's kind of the interesting thing is if we were to take it completely at face value of like this is a prophecy, and there's certain parts that we know to be true, that like the dream is the same, like exactly the same for multiple people, though from different perspectives.
And people have different
the
roles in it.
timeline is the same within
Yes.
it. Like the events that happen are the same across it. So like it kind of removes the interpretation layer out of it, because if it was singular dreams that all seemed connected but ultimately were completely different, I think that would introduce like the subjectivity to it.
Sure.
But where I'm at as a player, and I think where JJ's at, JJ's afraid that that's what the ending is, but is not convinced that that's the ending.
100%. And the other thing too is it's like in those moments, like Jedi style almost, it's like you have to be willing to lose everything to see beyond the veil
Yeah.
or whatever. Like you have to let go, like Avatar.
Yeah.
There's one. There we go. Another
It's like
one.
bargaining.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to walk away.
Yeah, you have to let go to you have to be willing to lose all the things to see what's next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at it from the opposite end, it occurs to me that we all were friends pre-dream, right?
Yeah.
And so what stands out to me is the thing that I've never put together, which is the dinosaurs are all standing in the Jeep, because that's exactly how I probably was playing with them, right? And so then my brain like puts that together in a big
fits it
soup.
together.
So for us, New Prosper and the world in which we lived feels as though these problems happened after the inciting incident of the dream. But I would wonder if so much of that stuff has been happening around us and we just haven't clocked it.
Yeah.
And the dream is, also our collective, minds like ordering all of this input that has been floating that we just haven't been paying attention to.
Awareness of the Matrix.
100%.
Yeah. Because like there's also a small part of me that's like, we've really been approaching this dream as a prophecy, but also as like kind of a representation of something that's happened in the past. But I love time loop stories.
Me
So
too.
I'm like, there's a version of this where this is a possible future.
Yeah.
And so this is just like a different lens, a different framework. And so this is more me as Lynn and not me as JJ.
Sure, that's kind of what I was asking
Players,
about.
player speculations.
But
yeah.
like, I think that makes it interesting to be like, okay, like we still might not know how this ends, but we might be in charge of how it plays out.
Yeah, or it's like your name. I won't. But like this idea of like something like this has happened before, and we failed last time, and it's happening again, and we failed again. But maybe if we work really hard together, we can turn it around. This
Honestly, it
last
makes
time.
me think of Voltron.
Oh,
Sorry.
No, that's
go on.
fine.
Like the DreamWorks version, the newer Voltron Legendary Defender, where there was
Wait.
the Paladins of old.
Which, let's be clear, you were in.
Yeah,
I
Let's
know.
just say it.
I'm a
You're saying
little
this isn't-
biased.
You're like, here's a media reference I'm pulling out, and we're like,
I know. I feel
It's okay.
that's why I feel bad about
it's
it, because
okay.
I'm
I
like,
feel bad about it.
okay.
You worked on a thing that exists.
I worked on a thing that exists, and I actually really liked the thing
good.
that exists. And so one thing that I love about it is like they have the Paladins of old. And the Paladins of old went up against this thing and failed.
Yeah.
And we do in the show they give a glimpse of it. And so what's happening in the main timeline of Voltron Legendary Defender is it's 1,000 years later a chance to retry with an all new team up against the same devastating odds and sort of trying to do what they couldn't do before, what they did poorly before, do it anew in not the same way, but
In their way.
In their way, exactly. And so it feels like we don't know if we are following in the footsteps of a group of great warriors who tried this before, or if we are the warriors who are trying this for the first time.
So by that logic, so we've just taken for granted that Paz is the bright light in the...
She's the wish.
The wish, right. So what if that bright light is also the upper city, right, which has all the lights under it?
Yep,
and
the constellation.
What we've seen, thank you, the constellation. And that moment that we've seen of all those figures getting blown to dust is the original wish.
Yes, that, and that. Who do we know that wears resplendent armor? General Shinmar.
Oh.
And the only other soldiers we know are the triplets.
Yeah.
And it's like, what if there's something to this idea of like, who are the warriors? What if we are not the people in the armor?
Yeah.
What if we're like seeing through their eyes? Something like that.
And it's sort of like the way that Lin streams work, where it's like, the people have been recast
By different people.
The people in these armors are someone else being played by our characters instead.
It's also interesting too, because again, we're taking this thing as both like face value as prophecy, and it's really hard to draw the line between whether or not it's metaphor or whether or not it's literal,
and also premonition versus like warning.
Yeah, so it's hard because it's a dream to say that like this could have been literal in some capacity. We don't know what this is. What it's looking at. What we've just described is it as kind of a metaphor. So it's like an interesting practice to try and understand it even as a prophecy. And that's what prophecies are wont to do. Be interpreted. But yeah, like the fact that we can't actually place the timeline, we can't place the people, we can't place really anything of it aside from the fact that it's important, like, and that it is shared, where I think we're also being taken for granted, like, whoever warned us, are they on our side?
Yeah, 100%. Also, Ibra's knight is also in resplendent armor or whatever.
Like,
it's like,
we don't know what any of that is. Like, we don't know whose points of view this is coming from. We don't know what the beginning, middle, or end of that story was. It's a completely out of context experience.
That's such a great question too. It's like, who's warning us, and like, are they wanting to help us or are they trying to hurt us?
We live in a world where ghosts and memories have the ability to contact us, and we're only just now discovering that.
And where, like, physically, literally, not figuratively, thoughts have power.
And magic is will, and like will made real. Yep.
I couldn't possibly say, but I do love that you're asking the right questions.
Okay, sure.
Terrible person.
Yeah, you couldn't possibly say.
I could. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
You could.
I could, and I definitely won't.
Yeah, there you go.
Until later, until you guys earn it.
Yeah. Oh.
Wow.
How do we earn it?
By telling a cool story to our fans.
Damn it, fine.
And rolling sweet natural 20s.
Sweet to die.
Yeah, also the clicky clacky math rock.
Yeah, we still have 3 questions.
Oh yeah,
the
from the book. Those are still in play. That like you have free space questions that you can ask me for extra lore. I did not forget that you guys gave me that, and now you have Leyland Heron's notes and book and whatever that sort of like bound together journal was to add to that too.
We also have like on Leyland Heron's writings, there's extra writings that only Frank can see.
That is also true.
Oh.
So many mysteries still yet to come.
And
I'm
we
excited.
we still need to find a hacker too.
We do.
We just need to re-find our hacker.
No,
Fucking
we should
Javi.
probably get another one in the museum. Just as a just in case.
That's fair.
Yeah, so thank you for taking this extra detour with me before we get to the answers to at least some of those mysteries.
Yes.
They're all sitting right there, tantalizingly in reach.
So close.
Thanks for also doing a detour with us and taking care of yourself and
You got it.
sharing
It's
your needs with us.
truly all in the service of making sure this is the best story that we can possibly tell.
Yeah.
So stick with us, and hopefully in a couple weeks, my hips will feel better, and we'll run a game for real. But until then, thanks for detouring with us, and we'll see you next time.
See you
Thanks,
later.
friends.
Bye. The Wandering Path was created by me, Mischa Stanton, and produced by Bex Taylor Klaus, Lynn Rafil, Mayana Barron, and me. The story was game mastered and sound designed by me, Mischa Stanton. It was played and performed by Bex Taylor Klaus, Lynn Rafil, Mayana Barron, and Ian McEwen. Cover art by Lynn Refill, transcript assistance by Darby Summers, and music courtesy of the Independent Music Licensing Collective. Our production and house manager is Erin Bark. If you like what you're listening to, please tell your friends and let them know where to find us. Our website is wanderingpathpod.com, where you'll find links to subscribe and follow us wherever the path leads. We're also on Patreon, patreon.com/wanderingpathpod. We're so grateful for anything you can do to help us keep making this show. Thanks for wandering with us. Till next time.